Oh, look, notification popped up. You
Cool.
went live.
And it looks like we're live. Uh, yeah. I just I opened up YouTube in the other in another window, so yes, I can verify it is actually working. Hey guys, appreciate as it looks like Snob's wife and Andrew Faulkner, uh, are over here watching, which is I appreciate that, guys. Or not just guys, guys and gals. Hey, Roosted.
Hello,
Yeah,
everyone.
sorry for the what was that?
Let's see if anyone could guess who I am.
Midnight, nice. Let's see. Yeah, that's for. Let give it probably another 2 minutes before I really start talking about the what's in the box. That way, see if anyone else shows up. Based on the icon there, can anyone else figure out who my guest is tonight? No, probably a few seconds delay, so that's gonna have to give him a minute.
Yeah, I think only one other person may have seen it, and I think that was Clover Tack. Because my picture on this is different than what it is on YouTube.
Ah, yes, Belle. Oh, is it? I have no idea how to unlock it. Can you guys see my guest now? Yes, Midnight California Belle is my significant other. And I'm lucky to have her in my life.
Yeah, she seems like a good lady.
Yeah, she is. Thank you. You know, Night Strike. I guess I can just call you Lewinsky, right? Well, all right. So we got enough people in here now. I'll kick the camera on. Not like any of you guys really want to look at me, but it's kind of hard to do what's in the box otherwise, right? First of all, let's would love to see. Oh, there's all those ums that I was giving Night Strike grief about the other day. Probably heard me. I'm kind of a big deal. Yeah, Midnight Range is the 2-bit fry cook. Uh, how many people saw the Instagram post? I'm curious. That's really professionally, of course. Thank you, Roosted. Thank you.
I do apologize if you guys hear any cars or anything like that. I am outside because my wife is sleeping before she has to go to work.
Well, that's for doing that is probably better for your health anyhow. So
Uh,
happy wife is a happy life, right?
depends on who you're married to.
Ouch. That that's a little rough.
She'd say the same thing about me, but we love each other, so
There you go. Lighting's pretty bright. Let's see here.
a lot better.
Okay, beautiful. Sorry, that's where I had my I had the computer sitting on my gun bench right now, so I had the work light on the bench. Never saw. What is with Vash Matrix? Never heard that said about the husband. Happy wife, happy life, huh? This guy. And Midnight. That's where I do have means of contacting Millie Mia if you start acting up. I probably should quickly here. I don't doesn't look like I have any mods, so I'll make a couple people that I trust as mods. I do want to try to keep this a Clover friendly chat as I should say. Link didn't work, huh, Ghost?
So in other words, PG-13.
Preferably PG, but you know what? If we slip with a little PG-13 once in a while, I'm not going to stress over it.
Okay. So even Midnight Range hasn't guessed it yet?
I'm trying here, guys. I apologize. I'm trying to figure out how to get the correct email address for Ghost Tactical. Okay, that's what my issue was. Trey at ghosttactical.com. Yeah, maybe you can fill a little bit of dead air there for me, bud. Give me a minute. Or you just want to let everyone know who the guest is.
Well, out of all the people, I figured Midnight Range would have figured it out first.
Okay, Ghost, I sent another one. See if that works. Let's see here. Okay, so anyhow, that's kind of a sidebar, just trying to kill time. Yeah, that's true. Why don't you give him a bit of a hint there, bud? Ghost, Trey, yeah. One of those days. Fryboy is asking for a hint.
My avatar usually has a skull.
Oh, helpful. And it looks like Ghost, that link worked for Ghost. How's it going, bud?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah, living the dream. Yourself?
Thanks for having me. Oh, man, life is good, bro. Life is good.
Things calm down a little bit for you over there. You're not working quite as many hours because last time I had a chance to really talk to you, you were still working a bunch.
Oh, yeah, I've got a tournament tomorrow and Monday is my last event, so it will go into nice mode starting Tuesday.
All right, that's true. And yes, Midnight, you got it right. It is Matt, Mad Sexy himself. So we got two California boys on the chat.
Yeah.
What up, Mad?
Hello, Ghost. How you doing, man?
I'm living the dream, my man. How about you?
That's all you could ask for, and doing the same.
Well, as long as nightmares are still dreams, I'm still living the dream.
Yeah,
you are a nightmare. That's why you're a ghost, right?
That's right. That's right.
We just make the best of what we can out of California.
You guys keep fighting the good fight. I like it, man.
Yeah. Well, like I keep telling everybody else, if we move out of here, then the fight's just going to come to them.
That's right.
California raisin. Nice. I like giving, I'll call, Clovertac, I called him a garden gnome earlier this week on Instagram. That's what I'll tell you guys straight up. I'm not very tall either, so I don't have any room to talk. I just like to give grief.
I like to make fun of Clover and say he has to repel out of his truck, but it's all good. Because I'm like a good inch taller than he is, so it's all good.
Every inch counts, or at least that's what I'm told.
That's what she said.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Rabbit holes. We can go down a million of them, right? That's right. Yeah, it looks like, Gun Snob agrees. Snob's wife, have you told Snob that one recently? Yeah, that's just too easy. And I apologize. that's the what's in the box that I was gonna do, and we'll get that done quickly so that way we can get back to just shooting the breeze. Any guesses?
I'm saying maybe an AR build or something. I don't know.
Ghost, you have any guess?
Sorry, man. I was talking about what was the question?
That's your any guess? What might that's your, I was just gonna do the quick what's in the box. That way we can get back to shooting the breeze.
I'm hoping it's a gun of some sort.
Well, that it is.
That maybe it's a Ruger bolt
I was
action.
going to say a Ruger bolt, but you know.
I'll flip it around so you guys can see the label.
Oh, Benelli shotgun.
That's expensive.
Hell yeah, it is.
It's the Supernova pump, actually. 500 even, I think. So, not ridiculous.
Hey, Cal, I got to step out for a few minutes. I got to do something with my wife. I'll be right back.
No worries.
All right, be right back.
Yeah, those Benellis, they shoot nice.
That's what I've been told. My old shotgun was having a few issues. So I decided, you know what, I wanted a pump anyhow. Oh, California. But
yeah. You know, those things won't stop nothing. I literally broke mine off with a butter knife.
Oh yeah, I believe it. It's enough to make them legal, so that's what I'm worried about.
Well, no, I lost the keys, so I couldn't get into it at the range, so I just pried it open with the butter knife.
Nice. Yeah, so that's where this is the Supernova, so it's capable of taking a 3.5 inch. That's where the shotgun I've run since I was 18 is having some issues. That's where, admittedly, they're my fault, but that's where it's always been extremely ammo picky. So it didn't like a lot of the hunting loads. Fake pickle, man. Nice. So I ended up going with the Supernova 28-inch barrel. So it gives me the ability to put a little heavier shot down if I choose to with a nice tight pattern. Got a pheasant hunt coming up at the end of the month. That's actually California Belle and I are doing together. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be going on it. So I'm going to say thank you very much, babe. I do appreciate that.
That's cool.
Anyone else, have any experience with this? Anyone in the chat? Let's see here. Full of day-old donuts. What is it with you and food? It's from. Is it from Chrissy's toy shop? I'm not sure what you mean there, Snob's wife.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure if yours has it, but certain Benellis, the face of the bolt, you could actually push them in. They're spring loaded.
I didn't even think to check on that. I didn't know.
It's got like a little weird, almost like maybe a soda pop or a cloud looking face. I'm not sure if those are the semi-autos or what, but
well, let's take a quick look. It's not fully assembled yet, so it's easy enough to take a look at that stuff. Yeah, it is spring load. You can push on and actually move the bolt face.
Yeah, those are very nice shooters.
Yeah, that's right. I have friends that run the standard Novas. I also have a buddy that has the 870 Wingmaster, I think it is. It's about 4 or 5 years old now, so back before the complete debacle that goes along with the whole Freedom Group thing.
Well, a buddy of mine has one. We use it for duck hunting.
Yeah, that's where I'll be using this for duck and pheasant and turkey and whatever the heck else I can.
Well, don't shoot the waterfowl out of it, because one time we did, it actually it messed up the barrel.
Were you running a steel rated choke?
I don't remember what he was running, but he had to take it to the gunsmith to have it fixed.
Well, that's where I'll find out, I guess. I hate to find out the hard way. But
yeah. I could ask him if he was running a choke or not, but I don't remember if he was.
And yes, David Bowling, I do appreciate the reminder. I don't know how many people in the chat caught that, but that's where David Bowling mentioned that I need to promote the Tactical Bullfrog channel. That is a B channel that I fired up in order to, just in case this one gets taken down, I'll be putting mostly, I won't be putting any gun content on that one, at least at this point. Just throw up a few random videos here or there, just so that there's a little bit on there. But it's not going to be a primary, so it's not going to be checked a whole lot. I just want to have that, post a link to it, Cal. Good idea, Snob.
I like how Matt has Mr. Matt just for messing around.
Well, that's he has it for messing around, but he also has it for in case he gets himself in trouble. And
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry, even though English is my first language, it's also my second language, so.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's my first language, but I'm not good at speaking it.
Ah, yeah. Let's see here.
Sometimes I'm beginning to wonder.
If anyone can click on that link and tell me if it works, whether or not you want to sub it or not, it's an entirely different story. I just want to know if it works. Midnight's making all kinds of jokes.
Oh, that's fine because sometimes when I'm talking, I begin to start sounding like Midnight. So just keep ranting.
That's for never go full Midnight. You know what? That's the worst thing you can do. Never go full Midnight.
Well, last time I did, my wife popped in and told me to shut up.
But
I'm just joking with you, Midnight.
Link works. Cool. Thanks, David. He's full of them. Trying to keep up on some of the chat, and it's actually moving pretty quick tonight. How many people do we have watching? 18. Wow, that's for one of my streams. That's actually really good. Oh, thank you, Andrew. Andrew Faulkner. I appreciate that.
People plus you on the chat.
Sorry?
Not to mention you had you plus 2 other people on your chat. So you're doing extremely well.
Yeah, that's for... Hold on. I'm not trying to ignore you guys. Just trying to move the box so I can sit back down on my stool. There we go. Yeah. DM65. Boy, I'm gonna, I'm gonna beat you when you get home. For those who don't know, DM65 is actually my younger brother. No, I said younger, not little, because here I'm 5'9", 5'10", roughly, or so. And 210. He is 6 even, like 240. So trying to whip him might not be so easy.
You have a younger brother?
Yeah, I have a couple siblings actually.
Oh, I always thought you'd be the youngest.
It's one of those, it's a complex family, so that's for I've got siblings that are older and then one that's younger.
Yeah. Well, no, I know how that goes. It's just you don't look like you could be that old. So
I'm 28. So my younger brother's 18.
Oh, okay.
Any
Dang, you guys are a bunch of babies.
what was that?
You guys are a bunch of babies.
Yeah, we are. But it's all right.
Yeah.
That's right. I
Is
don't
gonna
have a whole lot else to talk about. So come on, get chat. Let's throw some stuff out there. Let's if any, if I had more emails, that's where my email is calaveras32special@gmail.com. If you want a link to, if you want to join in, shoot me an email and I'll respond. I'll respond back. See if I'm bringing a kitty. No, Belle, they are out, in the living room, perfectly content. Last thing they're gonna want is for me to carry them in here.
just to give you a heads up, if Midnight jumps in the chat, I'm out. I want to get slapped with pancakes.
Tell us about, tell you guys about my gun collection. It is a bit of an addiction, as you guys all know. And Gizzard, yes, I realize that your kids are older than I am. You're, so that would, just about make you old enough to be my father, which you're not, obviously, but that is quite entertaining to talk with you guys sometimes. But that's where one I have sitting, pancake batter.
Hell, my daughter's about half your age.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's turning 15 this year.
Yeah, that's, so that makes her freshman in high school, roughly?
Yeah.
That's a tough age. You know what? I don't know how I'm going to handle that eventually when I have kids. I can't imagine it's going to be well.
It's very simple. You take them in the room, sit them down, and then you let them hear the sound of that pump and tell them this is what's going to happen when boys come this way.
Oh. Sorry, Ben Farrell. That's I think that's crossed the line just a little bit. So appreciate if you didn't put that kind of stuff in the chat. Let's see if we got anyone else try to. All right, I don't see what.
You know, if you drop a link to the Hangouts in the chat, then they could click on it and join you.
I have no idea how to do that. Is the problem.
You take the link that you put in your email, copy it, and then paste it in the chat.
Okay. Okay, I see it. There's the Hangouts link if we have anybody that wants to jump in. Like I said, free for all. So, would you rather rather have a Tech 9 or a High Point? I don't know much about the Tech 9 there, Ben. No, a little too late for that, Roosted. Appreciate it though. I can remove that, I guess, but
Well, you gotta remove the link.
oh, that's where I've had people trying to warn me to not post the Hangouts link in the YouTubes. Yeah, PG-13 free for all, whatever. I don't know much about about back to the question about the High Point versus Tech 9. I don't know much about the Tech 9s. As I understand it, they're a relatively inexpensive, simple, full auto 9mm. High Point pistol. I've never held a carbine, but a High Point pistol feels awkward, feels a bit clunky in the hand. I've never fired one, but I don't know. I'd give one a try. Uh,
I have shot the High Point 9, the C9. They
uh-huh.
don't they don't shoot any different than a Keltec for me. So I mean they're reliable, but when you're holding them, to me they just feel like you're shooting a Keltec. But that's just my opinion. Everybody has different thoughts on how things feel when they shoot them and stuff like that.
Oh, that's for okay. That's for bombs on here too. Nice. All right. Well, that's for we got Casper back. So
Casper's in the hizzy.
oh, that I can either call you that or Slimer, depending on which one you want. But
I've been called so many weird things and bad things in my life. Anything's good.
Link on gun channels. David, no, I did not post a link on gun channels. I actually have no idea how to put this over into gun channels.
It's the same as if you were posting it in the comments.
Okay.
So I had to leave. I know that you've already shown it, but it's Benelli, and what did you say it was?
Supernova. It's a the 3.5-inch 12-gauge pump.
Oh, sweet.
That's for
that's awesome.
Thanks to California Belle, who's anyone who missed it earlier is my significant other. She's my girlfriend, and she's pushing pretty hard for that ring. So we'll see when that happens. But that's for her uncle has offered to take us pheasant hunting at the end of the end of the month. My other shotgun is having issues that I induced. I don't know how, but I induced the issues. So I needed something that I could use, and I kind of wanted a pump action anyhow because the other one's a semi-auto and it's always been ammo picky. So yeah, that's
what
right.
is your
I have on bed. Do I have your email there? You know what, David?
So what is your other shotgun?
It is a Beretta. I don't know the model of it.
Never heard of a semi-auto Beretta.
Yeah, it's a recoil operated, not a gas, and that's where I think that might be part of where its finickiness comes from.
Don't
don't question my priorities. That's not nice.
I don't have any experiences with Beretta, so
that's for. Hold on a second, it's right here.
Is it 12 gauge or 20 gauge?
It's a 12. That's for the bolt jams, and that's for when the barrel.
Is that the A300 or the A4? Is it A300 or A400?
AL391 Eureka.
What is it?
It's an AL391 Eureka. URIKA.
Okay. I've shot an A300 and an A400 before. Never shot that before though.
Yeah, that's for not long after I turned 18. My uncle sold it to me just because I didn't have my own duck gun at the time.
Yeah.
So, and he was upgrading to a Brunelli, so he sold me that.
Sweet. Can't go wrong with a Beretta.
So are Berettas really that good as people say they are, or because I've never shot one?
You mean as far as shotguns go, or just
shotgun,
in general?
just in general.
I love Beretta. The shotguns are okay. Yeah, they're not bad, but I mean, as far as handguns go, and yeah, carbines are great too. I'm a big Beretta fan though,
Okay.
so I'm a little biased, you know.
Well, we are in a way. So
Yeah.
That's for either you guys run any shotguns. If so, brand, gauge, barrel length, whatever details you're willing to share.
I've only got two. I've got a Mossberg Maverick 88 and a Mossberg 590 tactical. Those are the only two that I've got.
I had a Winchester model 1912. Those in 12
Nice.
gauge. Yeah, I loved it, but I had to sell it.
Why is that?
Oh.
Just needed money.
Yeah, it's either I keep
midnight or
feed
sorry about that, guy.
so
Yeah.
I think it's a little more important to feed the family.
Yeah, kids tend to get a little cranky if you don't feed them.
Yeah, they do.
And that's for earlier David Bowling, I think was asked me about the gun collection, but we got sidetracked with other topics. That's where I think you guys have probably seen most of what I have. If you look at my videos, that's for one I happen to have right immediately next to me. P238 SIG, little 380. It's actually what I did my blind challenge on. Speaking of, has everyone out there done a blind challenge yet? I'm sure Patriot would appreciate it if you guys, all participated in that.
I have not, but I can try. I think doing my 1911 is going to be a little hard, considering you have to have a paper clip to take it down.
Well, that's where the SIG is a baby 1911. What is it? 80 series 1911, I think, is the is what it's based on.
Yeah.
You carry cocked and locked and whatnot.
What's
I
that?
did one on the Shield, and I'm probably going to do one on the new Walther as well. So I've already done one for the Shield.
Yeah, that's where you kind of beat me too, because that's where you did your Shield 9. I was planning on doing my Shield 40, but they're basically the same. So I decided.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, see, the only thing I have right now is my Rock Island and a Savage 64. So, and both of them require tools to take down. I'll give it a shot. No guarantee I'll get it back together. We'll blindfolded, but
You know what you could do, man? I'd be willing to bet if you went to a gun shop and told them what you were doing and say, hey, man, a buddy of mine is trying to do a blind challenge to break down, field strip pistol, but the only ones that I have require tools. Do you have a gun here that's pretty easy to field strip? And they probably let you videotape it right there in the shop, I bet. Mention them in the video or something,
I probably could do that. A lot of stores I've been to here in California are kind of iffy about having cameras in their store.
Well, I understand that. Yeah, that's true.
There is one store I go to that they haven't seemed to really care about me taking pictures. I'll ask them. It's I don't know if you guys have heard of this place. It's Allquist out in Turlock.
What's it called?
Allquist Arms.
I'm not familiar with it. That's where does Daily Gun Show still do a weekly shout out to a gun shop?
He tries to do one every day.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
That might be a good one for you to drop in the in G's email there. Mad.
Yeah.
Small one that he hadn't heard of yet. He might be willing to take a look. And
he'll probably have you on the show and let you talk about it too, if you want to.
Yeah, that might be a good way to go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as of right now, I'm gonna stick to staying on Calaveras' show. I'm still new to this thing, so
Man, just jump into the wolves. They don't bite too hard. You'll be fine.
not the part I'm afraid of, it's the bark.
Ah. Honestly, you know what it is? It's confidence.
Yeah.
Just be confident and have fun with it,
Yeah,
You
that's
can't really
where,
screw it up.
I was lucky enough to have pulling a blank on his name. I'm sure you'd give me all
that
kinds
guy.
of
That guy.
I'm sure you'd give me all kinds of lip if you heard that one. Still didn't get it. Nice. All right, I'll get right to that, David. Down there, living down there in Texas, former California boy.
Living in
Jelsma.
Texas, former California boy.
Yeah, that's for sorry. Jelsma. Grew up.
I didn't know that he was a former California guy.
Yeah, he was raised about an hour from where I was. So.
Oh, right on. I didn't know that.
Yeah, isn't it like Oakdale or something like that?
Yeah, it's town of Oakdale. That's where it's about an hour from where I grew up. That's where, so I occasionally give him grief about being a flatlander because it's down in the valley bottom, and where I grew up was in the foothills.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes from me. So.
Yeah. Let's see here in the chat. That's
So
not nervous about doing our first actual video today. I'm sure you did just fine, and that's for, isn't it? Your husband's responsibility on the editing to make sure that you look good, and which probably not a lot of work to do that, but I'm sure it looked just fine when he's done.
Just throw our faces on it; it'll be good.
Oh yeah. Let's see here.
So what's David asking about?
That's for trying to get him a link so he can join in, but he put his email in there briefly before. Where the heck is it? Try this one more time there, David. And okay.
You talking about Kingpin?
Yeah, Kingpin.
Yeah.
Rich, did you get my email? 1 second, let me refresh my email. Okay, that's right. I got one from Snob and from Mr. 1%. So
I got a question for Ghost.
I have an answer for you.
So is it true that out there, do you guys don't have to have any kind of bullet button or anything like that on your ARs?
No, hell no.
Just standard bullet, but just standard mag release?
Hell yeah.
Sweet. I gotta move.
Yeah, life is good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's pretty much whatever,
Don't get me wrong, living out here in California has its perks. It's just
name one.
Huh?
Name one.
The weather.
I love the weather there. I lived in San Diego when I was at Pendleton, and if I could afford it, I probably would have still lived there for a while after I got out. But
I mean, where else can you wear shorts and a tank top year round?
That's what I'm saying. I love it. We could wear t-shirt and shorts during the day and put a sweatshirt on at night year round, and it was just perfect. 'Cause I love wearing sweatshirts and stuff.
I mean,
it's a little different, when you start getting up Sacramento and farther north.
Yeah, it can get a little chilly up there. Yeah.
Although that's where jeans and a sweatshirt pretty much if you're in the Central Valley, will pretty much do you any time of year. That's where, unless it's raining, then you throw on a rain slick. It does not get that cold here in the Valley. I think the coldest I've ever seen it here in Sacramento was like 31 degrees. so it's not that bad.
Yeah, the coldest it gets here is about 48 where I'm at.
Yeah. Coldest I think I saw at my dad's place growing up because we were up the hill a little ways was 18 degrees, something like that.
We had Marines have cold weather training up in Bridgeport, and that freaking place got cold. Dude.
Bridgeport, what state?
California.
I'm not sure.
Up north.
Look at this, Calaveras getting all famous and stuff. We got the gun snob up in here. We got Rich. We got Ghost Tack.
I'm just bringing the show down, guys. Just bringing the show down.
You're doing just fine. Thank you very much.
I don't think my being in here is going to make him any more famous, to be honest.
Let's see here. Ben Farrell, are there any true program Republicans left in Maryland? How am I supposed to know? I'm in California.
The darn sure ain't any in California either, but you know.
It depends on what part of Maryland you're in, Ben. Move to Western Maryland. You're over in Eastern Maryland. That's the liberal hotbed. You go over into Western Maryland, they're more conservative over that way.
Up near Browns Valley. Okay.
I don't know, but Mad, that was honestly the funniest thing I ever heard was whenever you just asked that. I never realized anyone didn't realize that. I'm not being rude by any means, don't get me wrong. But the bullet button thing, that just shocked me. I was like, wow. I wouldn't even know what that was if it wasn't for...
I think you Californians are the only ones that are hindered by those things.
There's us here in California, there's New York, and I think Maine.
Well, that's for maybe New York State, but that's for, to my understanding, you weren't allowed to have hardly anything in New York City.
Yeah. Well, their handguns have 5 rounds instead of 10 like ours.
Is it 5? Wow, I thought our 10 was
6.
What's that?
I thought it was 6 in New York, but I don't know. I'm not from New York by any means.
Yeah, I was told it was 5.
Either way, that's not very many.
No, it's not.
Hey, Cal,
Yeah.
If you're looking for Bridgeport, you go due east of Sacramento over the mountains, and if you go due east from Sacramento, and then you go due south from Reno, it's at that cross section, basically up in the mountains.
Okay. Yeah, that's where California Bell says it's near Browns Valley, which is I'm roughly familiar with. So
it's pretty high up there. It's 6,000 feet or something like that.
Yeah, because that's up near the crest of the Sierras. They do get pretty cold up there. I mean, Truckee.
Oh, no kidding. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, it's not much of a place. I mean, it's a marine base up there basically. But there's not a whole lot. I don't even know the population is pretty small. It's just up there in the mountains.
I ain't never been to California.
Yeah, the closest I've been to California is my brother was stationed there in the Marine Corps, and he was living in Riverside. That's about all I know.
He was stationed at Bridgeport?
No, he lived in Riverside, so I'm guessing he was at Pendleton.
Man, Riverside's
or maybe something. Yeah, he was living in Riverside. I don't know if he was stationed at Pendleton or where he was stationed at California. So
because Pendleton's about 45 minutes north of San Diego. It's probably about an hour south of LA, roughly, maybe a little bit more. That's a haul. But yeah, he could have been. Yeah.
At one point, he was stationed at Quantico as a infantry instructor for new officer candidates.
Yeah, OCS. Yeah. Quantico's a pretty cool place, man. It is. It's a pretty cool place. I'd tell you one of the prettiest places I've ever been is when I was in high school. I was trying to go to the Naval Academy. I wanted to be a pilot. And I got a tour. I think it's like my sophomore, junior year. I think it was my junior year, maybe. Got a tour of Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. Annapolis, Maryland might be one of the prettiest places I've ever been to in my life. It's amazing.
You know, Ghost, if you'd have been shooting some food and hit some bubble and crude, you could live in California.
I did live in California.
Yeah, you bring up Annapolis.
You know,
brings up-
nice.
I'm not a
Although,
hillbilly. I'm from Dallas, bro. I'm from Dallas.
Yeah, that's right. He's from
I
Dallas.
live in
That's
Arkansas.
where-
I didn't know you're from Dallas. That makes you even worse. That means you can't drive.
No, it means we drive really well.
Yeah, at 120.
That's
And a
right.
45.
Annapolis brings up an interesting question.
Okay.
Why in the world are all the military academies located in liberal hotbeds?
Well, they weren't liberal hotbeds back when they were created.
Yeah, but they still are. They're still there now. Get them out of there.
Yeah. History, I guess.
You know, I missed that question there, Rich. What was that?
Why are all three military academies located in liberal hotbeds?
The fact that they're all in or near major cities, I'm sure, is not a benefiting factor on that.
Yeah, you got Naval Academy in Annapolis, West Point's in New York, and then you got Colorado Springs is where the Air Force Academy is.
Well, you know why that's there, right?
Huh?
You know why
NORAD,
the
right?
Air Force, NORAD, yeah. That's why the Air Force Academy is in Colorado.
Dude, we're in California and we knew that.
Well, not everyone knows that. I mean,
Yeah, NORAD's Cheyenne Mountain. That made sense for them to be there because they're buried underneath how many miles of rock?
There's no telling.
well, that's where when you want to make something, be able to survive the apocalypse, don't you want to, put as far away from the enemy as possible and under as much, barrier as possible?
Yeah, I mean, where they put NORAD, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well, don't they now have smart bombs that can penetrate stuff like that?
Not where they are.
Not where they are, no.
That's where it's the Rocky Mountains. So I'm pretty sure it's granite, and it's a couple miles thick.
It's a couple miles. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple miles of granite, then like 20
I'm sure
feet
they've got
of
steel. Yeah. Concrete and steel. Yeah.
concrete, and then the doors of those. Have you ever seen one on TV where they take news crews in there and they open the doors of those things?
The doors are massive.
They're like 5 feet wide.
Yeah.
It's like massive doors.
That's where the Terminator 3 or Terminator 4? Don't they actually quote unquote go to one of those locations? And the door they show is like 7 feet thick of solid steel or something like that.
Sounds about.
Wasn't that Salvation?
Now, if it's that thick, how are they going to hear you knock? I hope they have a doorbell.
You got to set a grenade off next to it.
Something tells me if you're with if you sneeze within 100 miles, they're going to know you're there.
I guarantee it.
That's the Steel Ghost catchphrase.
I don't know what else to chat about this point. Lots of military establishments in Maryland. David, I sent you the link multiple times. Did you not get it? Sorry, couldn't jump on the show, brother. Never got the link. Maybe next time. By the way, the stickers about Monday. All right. Well. I'm going to try that just for good measure. If you still can't jump in, then you can't jump in. That's fine. I want to give you all possible chances. That's for apparently when there's a rookie running the show, things don't go so smooth.
Welcome to my life.
It's a little bit of a learning process, but not much. You'll get the hang of it by your second or third show.
And that's where I don't have any idea how to embed this over in gun channels if I even can. So, yeah. Sorry, G.
It's not
To
that
embed
hard.
it, you have to have it. You have to have monetization enabled or Google Ads enabled or something. I don't remember what it was. It was a pain to do, even though you're not eligible for monetization. You still have to have all that stuff done to embed live streams. I just went through it a month ago.
Okay, then yeah, I don't have any of that stuff turned on. I mean, I think it says I'm eligible, but no thanks, I'm good. Less attention they pay to me, the better. Oh, hey. Hey,
Oh, hello.
Kingpin.
All right,
There
we
goes the
got it.
neighborhood.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for the link, Calaveras. Appreciate it, brother.
This is like the
And we'll
16th link he sent you.
5 tries.
Yeah, I've been checking my email and none of them have been coming through. And then whatever he said, I'm going to try this one. That one worked.
Check your spam. Sometimes they go to spam.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I didn't check that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, I'm glad to be on your first show, man. It's definitely a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, yeah, I've used the live, feature once before, I think, to film an impromptu video with no intention of having anybody on it. It was just, I think it was actually like my 100 sub announcement or something. It's like, I need to film before work real quick. Like, okay, I don't have time for editing or anything. So just, okay, click, click, click. Hey, look at that, it worked. No idea what I clicked.
Well, you're light years ahead of me when it comes to this tech stuff.
I wouldn't be so sure. Give me some of the basic Excel, Word, I'm okay. Even some of the drafting, engineering drafting programs, I'm functional somewhat. Much of anything to do with video or audio, I'm not so good at.
Yeah, you'll get used to it as you do more shows. It's just getting used to it.
Yeah. Andrew Faulkner, what gun would you buy if I did not live in California? Well, let's let's take that as dream gun. Let's run that one through the room just for the fun of it, right? I'm sure we've all done this before on plenty of chats, but I'm searching for topics. So, if anyone have any objections to that topic,
Sounds cool to me.
all right. Let's start with Snob. 'Cause I'm just gonna go in easiest order on my screen.
Well, I don't live in California, so
Well, I get that.
is this a reasonable dream gun or like a way out there phaser dream gun?
One of each, realistic and then sky's the limit.
All right, realistic, man, that's tough. Either one. Probably I really want to bear it, which that's pretty realistic and easily attainable if I just had a few $1,000 more laying around. And way out there, I want a minigun.
That works. Any particular caliber minigun? Because that's for I think there's the 5.56, and I think they make a 7.62 by 39. No, it's not 39. 54.
I think it's a 54R, yeah.
Well, that's true. Sorry, not 54. 308 and was it 51? I'm having all kinds of issues tonight.
No, I just want a minigun. I'm not picky.
No, just any caliber you can get it in.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Minigun's a minigun. All right, Rich.
Awesome.
Your turn.
I already got it.
I'm not really good. What is that?
USB 40 caliber.
Is that a safety or a decocker?
Both.
Okay.
Up is safe. See, I'll show. I've demonstrated this before. See, up is safe. There's fire. Decock.
Sweet.
But if I had to say something that I don't have now, maybe Smith & Wesson Model 27, like the one my grandfather used to have, that I was supposed to get but never did because family issues.
Yeah, that's for those are some nice nice pieces. And Mad Sexy, you're next.
I'd have to say an Anderson AR-15 5.56, and unrealistic one. Abrams tank.
Dang it! Why didn't I think of that?
For most of us, I love how your realistic one is something that pretty much everyone else on the panel probably already has or could go pick up tomorrow if they wanted to.
I have like 3, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you because that would just upset
I
you.
only have one, but it's probably one that would be even super illegal in California 'cause it's only a 10.5 inch with a brace on it. So that probably is even more frowned upon.
Yeah,
Well,
that's for. I don't think we're allowed to have anything NFA in the state.
Well,
with
it's
the
not
air,
A, but it's
It's a pistol. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it might not be on your pistol registry.
There's not very many things that are on our certified handgun list. And there's getting less and less every day. Although I believe there is a court case, going through right now, challenging the legality of that list. So fingers crossed.
well, with the
Here we got Mad Sexy done. So okay, Ghost, looks like you're next.
A somewhat attainable one would be a CZ 550 chambered in 338 Lapua. That would be a really cool one to have. And then the dream gun would be a Mark 19. I mean, who doesn't need an automatic grenade launcher, you know?
Well, that's for when the person and everyone around them needs to have a very bad day, right?
Yeah, that would be bad for anyone that gets in the wake of a Mark 19. But yeah.
My cousin actually, was Army National Guard, and she was trained as a gunner, and that was one of the things that she was trained on was the Mark 19. That and the Browning.
Fun to shoot.
Yeah, I tell you what,
those are both really fun to shoot.
you got a Mark 19, you could rent yourself out to a lot of companies that are demoing houses.
Oh yeah.
That you could.
How fun would that be, by the way?
I want to change my obtainable one. I want to go with a BAR. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Screw a Barrett. I'd rather have a BAR.
Yeah.
The
There
real
you
BAR or the thing that Browning now calls a BAR?
No, the real BAR.
Do they make transferable versions of those?
Oh, there's some out there.
There's some out there. You got to have some money though.
Yeah, a few $100,000 probably, I imagine, for a BAR.
Yeah, the new one is just a hunting rifle, a semi-auto hunting rifle that they slapped the BAR name on. It's absolutely nothing to do with the original.
Yeah. It is a disgrace to the BAR name, as far as I'm concerned. And
Yeah, but they sell it.
Sorry?
Auto BAR.
I said I bet they sell a lot of them just because they have it on there, though. You know.
Yeah, that's where you don't have a lot of people. I'm sure aren't paying too much attention. Yeah. All right, let's Kingpin. You're next.
All right, I would go with the fully automatic Thompson for my first choice. And my unrealistic, unobtainable would be the minigun from the movie Predator that Jesse Ventura carried. Or the little tiny gun that Will Smith got in the first Men in Black movie.
Noisy cricket.
Can I have a lightsaber?
Was it the cricket?
Noisy cricket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for from what I understand, that minigun from Predator, it's the same one in Terminator and a few of these others.
Yeah, it was the same one in Terminator 2. They had to completely rebuild it.
When they remanufactured it, because whatever had been cut up or whatever, apparently something wasn't quite to spec, and I've heard it actually chews up parts as you fire it. So about every 6,000 rounds or so, you have to have this one part replaced.
Yeah, I'd love to stand in the forest and just scream, "I want to have me some fun," like that black dude was doing when he was lighting up the forest. That was good stuff.
Oh, NSA.
Now we know who was on phones.
Yep. All right,
Well, the only BAR I found is a pre-sample, so it's not a transferable that's for sale right now. And it's just $17,000, but that's not a transferable machine gun. It's a pre-sample. I'm trying to find where one sold.
that's where I think we covered everyone except for me on that question, so I'll answer. That's for a realistic. I don't know. That's difficult. At this point, actually, hey, Mad Sexy. Yeah, we can see you.
No, I got booted out.
Yeah, that's for you. Ghost and Kingpin, you guys got NSA'd.
Oh,
I got a quick question for the California guys. Are you guys allowed to have the adjustable stocks in California? Like, you know how you have the 6-point stocks on a lot of the ARs and stuff like that?
depends on what it's on and what you have on that weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's kind of like the same in Maryland. Then you can't have 3 of the options. You can only have 2.
well, in this state they're trying to make it if you have one, it's an assault rifle. That's where on my AR, I actually have a couple of videos on this one, so I'm not afraid to show it. I went with a what is this? Not the Patriot lock. What the heck they call this thing? It's the AR mag lock. So that way, it's the magazine release, but it comes up to and actually has a finger that impacts that upper receiver, so you can't open it until you pop that pin, pop the takedown pin, before you can work it. So by doing that, it's supposed to qualify as a non-detachable magazine because you have to more or less disable the action in order to drop the magazine.
But there's a problem with that.
You're supposed. Sorry.
There's a problem that if you have a jam or double feed, you cannot break it open. It will not allow you. You have to reach in there with a screwdriver or something to clear it out.
Well, that's one thing. The magazines I use are a quick, a toolless disassembly. I've actually had double feeds, with that, and I was able to pop the bottom of the magazine out, dump the content of the magazine spring, the follower, the ammo onto the bench, and then reach in there and pop the pop the jam and get it to get it going again. Sorry.
Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry. All right, I'll go. With it being with the magazine lock thing, since you said it considers it a non-detachable, does that make it able for you to have 20-round, 30-round magazines, or are you still limited to 10?
Still limited to 10. And that's where. Did you want to answer this, Matt?
What's that?
Did you want to answer that?
Oh, you already did.
Okay. Supposedly with that lock, it then allows you to have a flash hider or a adjustable stock or some of these other features because it's a fixed magazine rifle. But there are, there's rumors and talk about some of these, politicians here trying to still push the whole issue. So that even with that, you're not allowed to have some of these other features.
If I remember correctly, you cannot have the birdcage.
I don't know specifically on the birdcage. If it's a fixed magazine, to my understanding, you could, but don't quote me on that. That's definitely something you'd have to check on before you went that direction with it. That's just for good measure on my AR. I went no muzzle device. I just have a thread protector on there. I went no forward grip of any kind. I went with a finned grip, so that way it doesn't have a that doesn't have the conventional grip on it, so I can't wrap my hand around it. And I went with a fixed stock. Mine is set up in 25-45 sharp, so it's a 223 necked up to a .257 slug. I built it as more of a coyote smacker or this kind of thing. It's not built to be a tactical rifle. It's 20-inch barrel, that kind of stuff. So that's, just to try to cover myself, that's the direction I went with it. But exactly on the laws, the laws were written one way. They are being interpreted another way, and they're trying to, people are trying to add new laws into it, which would then be interpreted however they want, and it's kind of a mess.
Well, the way it is right now, what a lot of people don't understand, that I've seen here in California, is that as of right now, you could put a Thorson stock on it and then put fixed, extension pads on it. They think because that makes it, they think that makes it a adjustable, but it's actually adjustable fixed because you have to take the screws out to adjust the size.
Well, that's
Yeah,
one
that's
of the
right.
questions that I kind of had for, and maybe anybody, maybe the more experienced gun owners here would know better, but maybe any of you guys would know. Uh, I've got the Model 60 Marlin 22, and it's the older one I have has 18 round capacity, and then when the law changed, it went down to 14. And the regulations that I was looking up said since it's a tube magazine and it's technically not a detachable magazine, that you can have more than 10 rounds in it. But
You're talking one of these, right, David?
yeah, tube fed. Yep, yep.
Yeah, that's where there's still a 14 round tube because they are a tube fed non-detachable rimfire. They seem to fall into kind of their own category. Even the brand new ones, that are tube fed are still 14. If you get either the magazine fed Marlin or if you get the Ruger 1022, then they have 10 rounders.
Now, does the center fire and the rim fire plays a big role in the law then, apparently, right?
Big.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that was just my question. Yeah, I was just asking about the rim fire versus the striker or the center fire.
Go ahead, Matt.
For example, you could take a AR-15 and have it built for 22 long rifle only. Then you could have a detachable mag with the pistol grip and forward grip. But the minute you make it center fire for 223, 556, you cannot have none of that unless you have a magazine lock or a locked magazine.
Hey, Cal, I got a question for you.
Go for it.
All right, so on your AR, you have your takedown pin. You had like a round little keychain looking thing. Is that just to be able to pull the takedown pin out quicker, or is that like for a sling or what?
Yeah, that is they are an extended takedown pin. It has knurling on the pin, but then it drills. So they come with this ring on it, make it easier to get a hold of, so you can.
Okay, I was thinking if that was for a sling, that wouldn't make sense because that sling would pull that takedown pin out.
Yeah, that's where it's not.
Okay.
It's meant just so you can grab it with your finger easily.
Yeah, I couldn't really see it, but it looked like a sling. I was like, what in the world?
No, that's a good question, Ghost. This is the Gen 1 version of the AR Maglock. It's designed this way. That's where the Gen 2, the finger has a little thinner portion on the tip of it, and the rear the takedown pin is cammed. Instead of it being just a single-sided pin goes through like more like a mil-spec, it's more of a double-sided pin, and that's where you can flip the cam, and by doing that, it allows the receiver to pop up a quarter inch or so, enough to disengage the action, but not to have it fully flip forward. And then you can drop the mag that way. All right, Snob. Not a problem. Glad you could join us.
Well, thanks for having me. I got to run. I had
Hey,
nothing
no
to
worries.
do that or not. I just wasn't going to bail on you without you at least noticing it. I was hoping.
Well, I appreciate that.
I got to get going. My battery's about to die on my phone, so.
Okay, Matt. Appreciate you joining us.
Okay.
Nice talking to you, Matt.
Going now.
Let's talk to you guys too.
Later.
See y'all later.
Matt. And I probably shut it down before too much longer, unless we really get onto a roll on something. I doubt you guys want to hang out all night. I mean, it's only 9 o'clock here, so it's most of you guys are closer to the East Coast, so it's a little later for you guys.
Yeah, I gotta leave here in about 5 minutes or so. I gotta be at work in the morning pretty early.
Hey, can I ask you a question real quick, Ghost?
Of course.
When you put a sling on, say, your AR, do you feel I can't remember. It might have even been your show, but somebody was talking about the slings, and he wrapped his arm around it before he
Yes,
started. Do you think that that would help stabilize when you're standing and shooting?
most
It,
definitely. Most
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
I use the sling as a stabilizer um, pretty much all the time. That's how I was taught in the Marines. So I've
yeah,
always just kind of done that. And yeah, I mean, it does very much work as a stabilizer.
And
yeah.
that's for
When I was in junior RTC on the drill team, our air rifles and our 22 rifles, we had slings that were made specifically for stabilizing. It didn't attach to your shoulder; it attached to your arm, and you would wrap it around your arm, and it would run from like your bicep to your wrist, and it made it where your arm could only bend so far, so that it was a more stable position for firing.
Yeah, because I need to start, utilizing my range a little bit better. I'm going to start shooting in the prone position, and I'm going to start firing on my feet a lot more to start. I've been sitting on the bench for over a year now, and I need to really start practicing some more techniques. So,
I mean, I still, even if I'm in the prone position, I'll still use a sling as a stabilizer. For me, more than anything else, I, whether or not it actually does help mentally for me when everything's all tight and compact, I feel if nothing else, I'm going to be able to control the muzzle a little bit better. Does that make sense to you?
yeah, it definitely does.
yeah, that's for and that's for. I don't know if that's where I have a sling on my 32 here. Just happen to have it out. That's where. Do you mean like when they do and put the counter pressure, or are you talking more of a? I mean, I've seen people do all kinds of wraps and all that kind of stuff
All
with their
right,
arm.
so go ahead and put it up to your shoulder.
Okay.
All right, now put your left hand through,
You know,
wrap it around, and then come back up.
okay. Yeah, that's
Does
not
that
how
make
I was
sense?
originally taught, but that's it would definitely help. Yeah, because that's where as I was taught, you have pressure against your shoulder, pressure with your forward hand, and then you push out with your
Hmm.
elbow, so it creates a tripod effect on the rifle to
Sure,
stabilize.
sure.
I was never military. Couple of my grandfathers were, but it's not where we learned that per se. It's just been a old trick taught, passed down through the family for God knows how long.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand that I basically learned how to shoot in the Marines. I wasn't a gun person until, I shot a couple of 22 rifles at like summer camp or something, a shotgun here and there at a buddy's house. But I basically was introduced to guns in the Marines, and that's how they taught us to shoot. And so I didn't know for the longest time. I didn't know any other way, and it felt comfortable to me. So I just went with it. Does that make sense? I don't
Well,
know if
that's
it
where
works or not. I don't know if it's good or not, but it works for me.
That's standard operating procedure for the military when you're in basic and whatnot. Junior
Exactly.
summer camp, that's the way we were told to do the sling. Basic training at Fort Benning, that's why we were told to do the sling. So that's just the way you do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like I said, I don't know if it's the right way or not, but it's how we do it.
I've been shooting
if it works
for.
for you, then it's the right way, regardless of what anyone else says.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it feels comfortable.
Love that.
It feels comfortable because that's how I've always done it. So yeah, that's how I roll. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kingpin, what were you saying?
Oh no, no, I don't. I talk a lot, man. I don't want to interrupt other people, but I've been shooting. September was a year that I bought my first rifle. So aside from taking a shot here or there throughout my life and whatever, I've basically been teaching myself how to shoot and then pestering you guys and people at the gun range. So all this kind of stuff is valid, is like very useful information for me. So, I appreciate you guys,
Man, that's what it's
sharing
all about,
what you
man.
know with me.
That's what it's all about is I mean, I'm learning every day from people. That's no one was born.
Oh, and there's the NSA again.
Yep.
That's for sorry, I was laughing at midnight in the chat. Do you use a sling at all when you're shooting there, Rich?
Yeah.
I got NSA'd again.
Yep.
That's what I was saying when you dropped.
But yeah, I was taught the same way in military training. Same as Ghost to me, same way he said that he just showed you. And then,
Yeah,
like I said,
I got kicked out again. I'm back. Sorry, guys.
with the
What's
junior
up?
RC one that I was talking about with our marksmanship rifles, it was a cuff that wrapped around here, but it was still the sling where you would wrap around your arm. Like he
I've
showed you
seen
what,
those before.
instead of being on your shoulder, it was just here, and then it stabilized. It was specifically for target shooting.
Yeah,
Marksman.
I've seen it. I've never used one before, but I've seen them bunches before. I've never used one though. Is it comfortable?
Yeah, I didn't find it comfortable because the cuff itself is padded. So, and then it just wraps around your arm like you would with the standard issue rifle sling for that you would have
Okay.
in, or like I have.
That's interesting. Like I said, I've never used them before. They just didn't look comfortable the times that I've seen them, so I didn't know.
Yeah, it doesn't support the rifle's weight as much as like if you had it coming over your left shoulder and you did that,
Hmm.
but it it makes it where your arm is more solid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
More solid. I'm not like a. I guess what I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking. You know, like a more solid mounting point for the rifle. I guess you could say.
Hmm.
Would there ever be a real world situation where, you know how like on TV the guy holds the gun about his waist and just starts spraying and like would there ever be a real world application for holding your firearm at the waist and just mag dumping?
I would never shoot from the hip. I mean, unless you have it fully automatic that you're just trying to suppress
Yeah,
somebody. You know.
suppress a fire and getting people to duck their heads.
And as we say, combat with modern weapons, not to my understanding. As I understand it, back when the Thompson was originally designed for the trenches, it was kind of designed for that type of, because it was simply you drop into a 3 foot wide section where no one can run and just unload. The aiming wasn't necessarily as much of an issue,
Well,
but that's for anything.
yeah, the whole thing with full auto itself was full auto was designed to be a psychological warfare weapon. The idea was that you were going to spray so much ammo that you're going to scare people so much that they're not going to pop their heads up, and it's going to cause less people to be killed because people are going to be too scared to fight. That was
Well, you can look at even before firearms entered into the military, uh, the rain of arrows that would come down during a volley from the archers. You know, you got
Exactly.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of arrows flying at you all at one time for 4 or 5, 6 volleys in a row.
yeah. At one
Well,
point,
if you look at old warfare like that,
yeah,
you know, the archers were not up front. They were
no,
not frontline people. They were in the back.
Yeah.
And what they were doing is the frontline guys were advancing.
yeah,
And in order to suppress the enemy, the archers started raining arrows while the front lines were moving in. So that gave them basically a free chance to move up.
yeah. And at one point in England, the English longbowmen were so feared because everybody, if you were a certain age and you were a male in England, you had to train so many hours a day with a longbow. It was the law over there. Everybody was a longbowman, unless you were like a frontline soldier or a knight. You were a longbowman. If you were a peasant farmer, you were a longbowman. If you were a serf working for that peasant farmer, you were a longbowman. Everybody had to practice with the longbow.
Well, maybe that could be a topic for one of your future live streams, Calaveras, is what's everybody's opinion on like forced military time? You know, say just make it up 18 to 20. You know, it's mandatory for everyone to serve 2 years in some type of military.
I'll have to write that one down. That's right. I don't do a regularly scheduled live stream. That's where I generally, tonight I had time simply because I, wasn't working today, which luckily I did a Rugged Maniac 5K instead, but I have to work tomorrow.
What the hell's a
That's
Rugged
right, fired
Maniac
up just-
5K?
Sorry? What was that,
I had
Ghost?
to ask. I had to ask. What the hell's a Rugged Maniac 5K?
Sorry, 5K, so it's 3.1 miles, and it's a obstacle course mud race. So 25
Oh, that sounds
obstacles.
terrible.
It was actually a lot of fun. It's not nearly as hard as the Spartan I'm going to be doing in 2 weeks.
Are you getting any footage from this stuff?
I've got about an hour and 20 minutes of GoPro footage that I was wearing the entire time.
That's
yes.
Right now, it goes flashbacks to Marine basic training, having run the obstacle course.
the O course, baby. We had the confidence course also. That was interesting.
Yeah,
I'm editing it down. I'm gonna edit a lot of the running bits out because those are boring, and I'll have the obstacles in it, and I'm probably gonna overlay it with some kind of music or something, so that way it'll make it significantly shorter and maybe a little more interesting, and maybe even break it in multiple pieces depending how long it ends up being.
There you go. So I got a question for you. When you were in basic, did anybody ever piss themselves on the victory tower?
Hello?
Hello, you there, Ghost?
Yeah. I heard it was on basic. That's all I heard.
Oh, when you were in basic, did anybody piss themselves on the victory tower? Or did you know what I'm talking about? Right?
Yeah, no. I had a guy piss himself on the firing line on the range.
When I was at basic, we had somebody piss himself on the victory tower. For those of you non-military, that's like a 50-foot rappelling tower.
I'm terrified of heights, so. But at that point, I was more terrified of the drill instructors, so I was ready to go. Now, I will say this: the first time I ever jumped out of a perfectly good helicopter, once again, I'm terrified of heights, so I didn't really want to jump. I didn't really want to do this. Now, at the time, it was the first jump, and it wasn't very high, so we had you've probably seen the parachutes that you clip onto a cable. So as soon as you jump, the chute's already there. It's already open. You don't have to you're not free falling or anything. It's just as soon as you jump and you clear, it pulls a cable and the chute comes out for you. I knew it was going to be okay. I knew it was going to be safe, but I was scared shitless. I was scared to death. And so I'm sitting there at the door and I'm like second to last guy. And I look at the sergeant and he's looking at me. He's like, "You don't want to jump, do you, Miller?" And I was like, "No, Sergeant, I don't. I'd really rather not, you know." And he goes, "Well, I'll give you an option." I said, "Okay, what's the option?" He said, "Either you can jump out or I can throw you out." I said, "I'm out of here. Have a good day." Jumped out.
I'd say it was probably a pretty good call.
Yeah. I never had anyone on the repelling tower do that. We had guys that would cry. I saw a guy cry, but I never saw anyone do that. I did see a guy piss himself on the firing line at range because we were told not to say anything. You know, we couldn't speak at all during boot camp, basically. And he had to use the restroom, but he didn't want to ask anyone, so he just let it go.
Did the guy that cried, did he wash out or did he make it through the rest?
He made it because you have to understand, at least when I went through, I can't speak for everybody else, but when I went through, that was one of the last things you did. That was third phase. You had already gotten back from second phase, which is up at Pendleton. We were back down in San Diego. At that point, you were just doing final inspections, final drill, getting everything ready to go, getting your uniform set. And it was more or less, that was just kind of for fun. You know, that was like a reward. You get to go rappel a little bit and have fun. So basically, if you make it to the third stage of boot camp, back when I was in, you pretty much were going to be all right. And the only thing you do is if you just didn't do anything. You know, if you did it, at that point, like I said, you were pretty much already done.
Since we have a quick pause, that's for Fry Cook jumped in. Are you there, bud?
Oh, hello.
I gotta go now. See if he's here.
Brand new chat, huh?
Personally, myself, I was never a Repelling fan. That just didn't. Unlike you guys, I had fear of heights, so Repelling wasn't my thing. I wasn't the guy that peed myself, but it wasn't my favorite thing.
I questioned it. You know, I questioned why we had to jump off of something that's stable, you know, or jump out of a moving aircraft that doesn't seem to be crashing. So, you know, it didn't make sense to me.
Rich didn't pee himself. He peed somebody else. Is that an issue? Was that a problem?
No, that didn't happen either. That would have been a serious issue. I probably would have got thrown off the tower.
I'd love to jump out of an airplane. I think that sounds pretty cool.
It's all right. You know, once you get used to it, you know, it's all right. It's not the worst thing in the world.
What kind of impact is it like when you hit like when your feet touch the ground? Does it feel like you jumped from like really high up, or is it
Oh yeah, it's
soft?
like jumping off of, you know, the roof probably of a like a one-story house.
Oh,
I mean, it's not easy. It's not good. I mean, you know, we don't have the professional skydivers that basically land like a feather, you know. You know, you hit, you know when you hit, you have bent knees and you hit the ground, you roll. I mean, that's just, you know, that's the way it is. We're not going to land on our feet. We're going to hit, drop, and roll.
yeah, that
That's
was my
those
next question. Do you ever were you ever trained to land on your feet, or was it the drop and roll technique?
No, it's drop and roll, drop and
Yeah,
roll. You know, you have to understand also. There's two parts of that. One, you never want to land that softly because what are you doing? You're coming in slow, and the last thing you
yeah,
want to do is be in a sitting target in combat area. Two, if you land on your feet, once again, you're on your feet and you're a standing target in the middle of a field. So you want to get on the ground as quickly as possible and kind of figure out where you are and where the enemy is.
And another issue was if you land, I I knew people that were in airborne, and this what they were another thing that they were told was that if you land and you have your legs where you're going to land on your feet, your knees aren't going to absorb that shock of landing, and you can actually injure your leg.
Oh, you can snap your legs, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, to bring it back to firearms related stuff, I'm definitely assuming that when Ghost Tactical jumped out of an airplane, he had his rifle with him. How do
Most
you
definitely.
land? How do you land and roll? Do you just roll over top of the rifle, or do you have it on the other side of your body? Like, how does that work?
One of two ways: either you hold it above your head when you get ready to have impact, you hold it above your head, or sometimes you'll have it on your sling and it's maybe around on your back or something like that, or you know whatever. But you know it's not like you're turning six somersaults or anything like that. You know, you hit, you fall, you might roll a little bit, but a lot of times, you know, some people keep it above their head. You know,
that's
you
with
have some sort of muzzle control, at least a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
that's generally with the tethered version. That's the round shoots, isn't it?
that's correct.
That's for very reminiscent of like a World War II, that kind of thing is what I think of. 'Cause that's generally what those guys had.
To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, it's a big ass piece of canvas, is what you could, you know, basically call it. You know what I'm saying? It's not canvas, but it's thicker material that,
Right.
you know,
Now, like your basic, and I don't mean, I'm a total civilian, 100%, nothing but respect for anybody who served in the military. So I don't want my wording to be misconstrued as anything but my lack of knowledge. Uh, like your basic infantry group or, ground troops, they're going to fly in and march or drive vehicles where they need to go. Like people who are parachuting into the mix, those are like your special forces type of guys and stuff like that, right? Like your general,
to be honest with you, that probably doesn't happen hardly ever anymore. I mean, honestly,
right?
let's just be honest. It really doesn't
Yeah,
happen hardly ever.
yeah. I kind of figured the majority of that kind of stuff was Hollywood, but I know somewhere along the lines, somebody's jumped out of a helicopter or an airplane and into some crazy stuff. But I figured most of your troops are going to go land in an airplane and move forward from the ground.
Yeah,
Well,
for
that's
the
for
most part.
like the raid on the Bin Laden camp. That was specialty helicopters dropped them off, and then pulled back enough to not be in the way, and then had picked them up again. I would think that would be preferable when possible because it gives an extract option versus a parachute jump. They're kind of stuck, until someone can get in there in a either in a fixed wing with somewhere to land or a rotary wing aircraft in order to pick them up again.
You know, typically the only way that you're going to have to do that is if there's no option for an LZ. You know, there is no place for a chopper to land, or the terrain is so bad, or there's so many different area variables that you cannot get a vehicle in. Very, very, very few times will you ever hear of anyone probably parachuting anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. The flexibility seems to not be there, but laptop is up, but no cam or mic. I appreciate you dropping by in the chat there, Mad Sexy, even though you can't jump back into the panel. At least it doesn't sound like you can jump back into the panel. Sorry about the at midnight we first tried to introduce you, and your intro kind of got ran over by the conversation. You want to try that again?
Oh, no big deal. I'm just hanging out on my way home. No big deal.
Stopping at the grocery store again, or is
Nope.
Not tonight?
Nope. I'm getting straight home. Yeah, I'm ready to get out of there. It's what the hell time? I got there at 8:30 this morning. It's now 12:15. It's time to go home.
That's a long day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is a long day. It sucks. It is what it is. Ghost, you're in your phone, so you probably didn't see me text it in the chat. You there, bud?
I'm here. What's up?
On Tuesday, I'm hoping to go up to, it's not real far away, the town that I'm from, right? And they have this, it's an old firehouse that they turned into like a town museum. And I think my grandfather's Marine dress hat is in there. I'm going to go up and see if it's there.
No kidding. Take a picture of that.
I will, for sure, yeah. Because I know before he moved, when he still lived in that town, before he moved to be with my parents, I think he donated it to them. I think they had it in there under like.
No, you're talking about the white dress blues cover?
No, it wouldn't be that one then. It wouldn't be. It would be the
It'd
green.
be the green one. It'd be the alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not
okay.
that's not a dress. That's not dress. That's.
Well, it's. I mean, it's the alphas. We call them the alphas.
Yeah, that'll be one step below your dress uniform. That'll be the one where
that's the dressiest of the alphas. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're going somewhere important, but not important enough for your dress blues.
Yeah, that's all he had when he came home. He had that, and he really pretty much only had what he was wearing. So, but I remember
we hardly ever wear dress blues unless it was for the Marine Corps ball or some fancy ceremony. Most of the time, if we had a regular ceremony, it was in our alphas.
Yeah.
Which is the all green uniform.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I remember when we had like Memorial Day parades in town and stuff, it always went right past his house, and he would put it on and salute when the soldiers went by in the parade.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, man. Get a picture of that for me, will you?
Yeah, I'm kind of crossing my fingers that it's there, and it wasn't something that like he was gonna do, or I heard he did, or whatever, and never did. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be super cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool. If you can get some photos for that for us. The family heirloom, especially ones of military service, are always awesome.
Yeah, we don't. He had all his stuff either got lost or taken when he came back, so he didn't have anything really. I think he just had pretty much what he was wearing. So that kind of a bummer,
That's for when did he serve?
42 to like 40. Shoot, I don't remember. He was in Guadalcanal, and he was on Cape Gloucester, which is another island in the Pacific. So it was early 40s. He was in for 2 years, 3 years, I think. I don't remember. I can't remember.
Well, the fact that he got off of Guadalcanal is something to be, special anyways.
Yeah, I have his, my aunt made me, I was telling you about it. My aunt made me like a photo album with like his discharge papers and all that kind of stuff in it. Like, copies of it or whatever. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome stuff, man. That's awesome.
It's neat to look through it and see how much he made and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like whatever it was, like
$20-something a month or something. I think he was making.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't make a whole lot.
Yeah.
They don't make a whole lot, but I'm not over here.
Well, that's true. They didn't make a whole lot, but there was plenty of people at that point in our country that were more than happy to serve, and the fact that they had a job at all, because that was right at the end of the Depression, thanks to the war, honestly. But that's where they were happy to be working, period, let alone to be making what they were.
That's why it's called the Greatest Generation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you get people saying, "Oh, the Depression ended because of FDR." No, if you look at history and you look at the numbers, FDR made it worse.
Yep.
It was only in the United States that it was the Great Depression. Everywhere else, they just called it the Depression.
Yeah, that's for. Because I know what Hoover's, presidency. His people didn't do hardly anything to try to help, and
that's not entirely true. You realize when FDR got elected in 32, the unemployment rate was lower than it was right after the crash, and it went back up during FDR's presidency. So the unemployment number had actually dropped during Hoover's administration. A lot of people don't realize that because Hoover gets a bad rap.
That's a good point. We have to look that one up, Rich.
I think Hoover's a hell of a vacuum cleaner. I don't know why anybody would talk so bad about him.
Yeah, the part of the problem was that the country wasn't recovering as fast as what people thought it should. So Hoover, as the president, got all the blame for that. A lot of it was Congress. But
isn't that kind of how it goes? Because the president doesn't have a whole lot of authority on his own. Right. We've had some of the modern presidents, including the one right now, that seem to have tried to give themselves more authority than what I think they were supposed to have had.
Yeah, the president always gets to fault for the economy, even if it's something that they aren't necessarily responsible for, that Congress may have done something. And a lot of times you'll get a president who opposes a bill, but there's no point in them vetoing it because it would pass with such a margin of that vetoing it is completely pointless. You might as well just sign it and get it over with because they're just going to overturn your veto anyway. And a lot of times, and again, because they didn't veto it, they get the blame and yada, yada, yada. And, it's just the way it goes with the job. But sometimes it's not fair, but it's the way it works.
Well, life in general isn't usually very fair, but
the high point of the unemployment rate during the Depression was 1938. What happened right after 1938? You had World War II break out in Europe in 1939. What did the United States start as a policy in 1939, 1940? The Lend-Lease program. What was the Lend-Lease program? Our manufacturing got built up to make war machines for England, the French resistance, and the rest is history. And then because in 41 you had the Japanese attack, and that really got our industry built up because we were.
Yeah, I know there's a few people that argue back and forth about, with thinking about with the Japanese and whatnot about the whole Pearl Harbor. Like, if we've, the story goes obviously, as everyone here I'm sure well knows, it's those unprovoked people that try to argue the fact that we cut off a lot of supplies to the Japanese when they started going gangbusters through Asia. That's why they did it. I don't know. I'm not trying to say it's one way or the other. That's the argument I've heard.
Well, one of the things was the Japanese didn't have any native oil production. The Chinese did, so they were going after Chinese oil. That was part of the reason for the invasion of China, because FDR was threatening to cut off Japan's oil, the oil that we were supplying to them, if they didn't stop what they were doing in the rest of Asia. So their response to that was to invade China.
Yeah, that's for Manchuria mostly, because that's where a lot of at the time at least, the Chinese natural resources were.
Right. And then you get the rape of Nanking and all that going on. So
Yeah, which a lot of us were taught that in school. What I'm kind of curious about, that's where, of what we heard, how much of it is blurred by propaganda, how much of it is straight, because unfortunately stuff like that, so many things are colored by propaganda, even if it's in a history book.
Yeah, you're younger than I am. What were you taught about the Japanese surrender? Were you taught that it was unconditional?
I was. That's where they tried to, I was taught that they tried to make some conditions, but that it was
no, it was absolutely conditional. Their surrender was completely and totally conditional. There was one absolute major condition to that. Nobody in the Japanese leadership, including the emperor, could be tried for war crimes except for Tojo. That's it. Tojo was the only guy ever tried for war crimes in Japan from Japan. Japan committed more war crimes in World War II than Nazi Germany did.
Yeah, and that's when you had all kinds of trials. That's where what was it? The Hague Convention was formed after World War II because of the war crimes. And that's where some of the high-ranking Nazis were chased all over the world, because of what they did.
The Nazi war crimes primarily came out of the Holocaust. Japan was committing war crimes against civilians and military, POWs. If you were a POW in Japan, a Japanese POW, they were a lot of times using you as slave labor. There were many American and British troops that were used to build Mitsubishi Zero fighters for the Japanese Navy and their Army Air Corps, which is a clear war crime. You are not allowed under the Geneva Convention to use POWs as slave labor, especially not to make machines of war. And that's exactly what the Japanese were doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's where, to me, it also seems like a bad idea, because that's where the people who you're attempting to conquer are now the ones building your machines. What's their incentive to build it correctly?
Live.
Yeah,
they were
not be killed.
I mean, yeah. If they saw you doing something, they would bayonet you on the line and put somebody else in your place.
That's true. Oh. That is very true. I didn't think about that one. Glad you guys corrected me. How long have we been going now?
Yeah, they won't even waste a bullet. They just bayonet you.
Well, that's where the Japanese military was big on, the use of bayonets anyhow. That's where so much of their culture was so based around the blade that it was natural for them to use a blade, versus our country. Blades are part of our culture, but not to the same extent. I think a lot of our troops didn't go to a blade quite as quickly.
Yeah, their soldiers were specifically told, don't waste the bullet, just use your bayonet. It wasn't just the cultural thing. It was, we're not wasting bullets. Just save your bullets. Just use your bayonet, because you don't know if you're going to need that bullet to fight somebody else with a rifle. So they were just told to bayonet people. Like the Bataan Death March. If you fell out from say you had dysentery or something, and you fell over from it, they didn't bother they didn't let anybody pick you up. They just walk up to you and bayonet you.
Yeah, I've heard that the reason why it's called the Death March is that's where a vast majority of the units that were captured there on the on Bataan didn't make it to the prisoner of war camp, and when they finally managed to do a raid towards the end of the war to liberate the prisoner camp, there wasn't that many left.
Yeah, and then the Japanese got away with it essentially. They said the only one that was allowed to be tried for any of that was Tojo. He was basically made the scapegoat for the whole Japanese hierarchy and chain of command. And for those that don't know who Tojo was, he was the prime minister and foreign minister at the time of World War II in Japan.
Right, he would have been like number 2 to the emperor, I believe, right?
Yeah, he didn't even back then. Japan was still more of a monarchy, so any orders for any kind of major thing had to be signed off by the emperor. The people will still say, "Oh, the emperor didn't actually know what was going on." Yeah, right. The emperor knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah, and that's where I think he was the one that made the agreement or okayed their surrender at the end, if I remember correctly. That's where, even though there's a lot of his lower ranking people that wanted to continue fighting even after Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah, the reason why they surrendered is because they thought they thought we had another one. That's the only reason why they surrendered. If they knew we didn't have another one, they wouldn't have surrendered.
Well, and that's also that was one of the bluffs that we intentionally did. We wanted them to think we had more.
Yeah. If they'd have called the bluff, the war would have kept going. But that's a hell of a bluff to call. To be quite honest, how many people would have the gonads to call that bluff if you just had 2 of your cities wiped out by just 2 bombs? You know.
Yeah, that's where. Although from what I have heard, when they firebombed Tokyo, they actually had more, at least immediate deaths than they did from the either one of the atomics. I mean, the atomic bomb would have had.
Japan was a bigger city too, so.
Yeah, I think it would have had more long-term deaths because of radiation.
Yeah, they weren't really huge cities. Tokyo was even back then was a massive city at that point.
Yeah, and that's where a city built mostly of wood, and that's where you look at a lot of the architecture with wood, and I don't know what type of material that is.
It's a special kind of paper. It's not like writing paper, like newspaper paper. It's a special, it's thick.
Right. So I mean, that's where you take a city like that. That's basically it's a tinder box, and then you drop 1,000 plane loads of incendiaries in the middle of it. It's not going to end well.
No, not at all. And if they'd have dropped the atomic bombs on Tokyo instead of 2 smaller cities on the outskirts, there would have been a lot more devastation from that than what there was. They were trying to make a point, and even though they knew that these were going to cause massive amounts of deaths, they were trying to contain it at the same time. It was more of a don't mess with us, or maybe next time this will be Tokyo kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's for the fact that with Tokyo raid, there was many planes to do the devastation versus the other ones. One plane with one explosion was very unusual to see that much devastation from one bomb.
Yeah, if they would have dropped those 2 bombs on 2 different sections of Tokyo, there would have been a lot more dead from it.
It's thankfully, there hasn't been too many times in history where that particular genie has been released on the public.
No, it's only had to been done once, and it probably saved lives by doing it. I mean, I know that doesn't sound right, but the Japanese were not going to surrender. They were going to defend their mainland until everybody in the country was dead, essentially.
Yeah, that's true. Was it, the estimate?
They literally, if you look, there are films where they had 5-year-olds with swords in their hands that they were teaching them how to swing them. So I mean, they were not surrendering. It's
that's
one of
the estimate
when he found out we had them, because Truman up to that point didn't even know we had them.
Yeah, that's where the Manhattan Project was kept pretty well under wraps. You know, they had to.
Yeah, even as vice president, he was not allowed to know we had those.
Right. That's where
As soon as he became president, it was like, and he found out about that. Use the damn things, basically.
yeah, that's where I think they had only recently got them operational. But that's where the I think the estimate was if we had to invade the main island of Japan was like 1 million casualties and God knows how many
And that's
wounded
being
and this kind of
conservative.
stuff.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
being conservative. That's being conservative, saying
Yeah.
1 million.
Well, that's where every from Guadalcanal to Tarawa to Iwo to all these other islands. Every time they made an estimate, oh, we'll think we'll have this number of casualties. They were off by several factors. So if they're estimating 1 million casualties, what is it going to be? 2 million, 10 million?
Yeah,
That's I can see why they dropped the bomb.
yeah. You didn't have very many Japanese POWs. They didn't surrender easily.
No.
Why did they pick Nagasaki and Hiroshima?
Because they were big enough to make where it would make an impact, but they were
without being
where
too
you wouldn't have
devastating.
an excessive number of dead.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I just never really looked into it. Why they decided to pick those?
Yeah, they were minor manufacturing centers, and it would make a splash. It would get somebody's attention.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you dropped one of those damn things anywhere, it got people's attention.
Oh, but it really got their attention because because it hit their manufacturing, and then you had people the number of dead.
Yeah.
If they would have dropped it like in a forest somewhere, it wouldn't have been as big a deal.
Well, I think when you see somebody turned into a shadow, that sinks in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire world took notice after that.
Yeah, when you vaporize people, it opens up some eyes.
Yes, it does.
Very DM65 out there saying that's where there was military bases in those two cities. I think just about every city in Japan at the time had a military base because as I understand,
they all
there
had
was not very many quote unquote cities in Japan. There still isn't really. So towns, yeah, but cities, no. So I have to imagine all cities had a bunch of bases.
Yeah, the Japanese Imperial Japan at that time, there was quite a few people that were military. If you weren't military, you were military, especially during the war. And that they had all the anti-aircraft emplacements everywhere, so there was military everywhere in that country.
Yeah. 9:30 here. No, sorry guys. I'm getting tired. Great chat. I appreciate everyone stopping by. I appreciate everyone over in the site and text chat stopping by. I think I'm gonna shut it down for the night though. I apologize for the suddenness of it. You know what? Do you guys?
You don't need to apologize. We've been doing this for a while now.
Sorry?
So there's no need to apologize. We've been doing this for a little while now.
Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to plug?
I got the show tomorrow night, and it's over on the Unloaded Media channel. And then after that, Midnight's got his show.
Mm-hmm.
And Scotsman's got his tribute to Ed USAF tomorrow.
There's a ton of stuff going on tomorrow. Budget's going to be on. Yankees on.
Oh, yeah, Budget's on tomorrow, too.
Matt's on in the morning. So, yeah, it's Matt.
Well, no, Matt's been doing his in the afternoon, hasn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's been going on around 4:35, somewhere around there the past couple of days. I mean, not days.
So you're going to have 4 o'clock or a 5 o'clock show, 2 7 o'clock shows, an 8 o'clock show,
2 9:30s,
2 9:30s, a 10:30.
That'll run till 4.
It could. Crazy.
We've done it before.
Yeah. That's why it's called the closer. You got to close that week out, man.
Yeah.
Unless G does van chat, and then after, usually Taters will start one up.
Yeah. You never know. Taters will throw one on no matter what time of day it is.
Yeah, Taters or sometimes Dead Horse, but usually Taters will do it.
Yeah, Andrew Faulkner, mentioned, Gun Gals is tomorrow, and that's true.
Yeah, that was the second 9:30 show.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the 9:30 Eastern, yep.
Yeah, because you got them and Scotsman started around at the same time.
Yeah, that's where this is was an impromptu. Probably not gonna make this a habit, but the nights are pretty busy, and I don't get to spend a whole lot of time with California Belle. She's not home tonight, unfortunately. So
yes, she said that's in the morning.
Yeah, I saw that, and
apparently,
but that's for.
Now.
I will.
Cats just went and got their own food.
Right, they got to have mice for that to happen.
Well, I'm sure there's mice
they're
running
both
around
indoor,
somewhere.
and they're both very sassy. So I don't think either one of them wants to go after it. But anyhow, I may fire up one of these once in a while, just kind of messing around. I do appreciate that we have 20 people watching right now. I'm gonna drop the link one more time over to my B channel, Tactical Bullfrog, which I was saying earlier in the chat was just I'll have a few random things over there here and there just to keep it active, but it's more or less in case this channel ever gets shut down for a strike. So appreciate everyone stopping by.